Waves crash violently against the docks. Fishing boats rock in the stormy sea. Jonah, a rugged man in his 30s, rushes onto a ship, his eyes darting with urgency. He slips a wad of cash into the captain's hand. The captain hesitates, then takes the money and nods toward the ship. Jonah glances over his shoulder as if afraid of being followed, then boards quickly, vanishing into the vessel's shadows. The storm intensifies. Thunder rumbles. Rain lashes against the deck. Crew members fight against the howling wind, gripping ropes and shouting to one another. The ship tilts violently as waves rise higher and higher. Jonah stands near the railing, face pale, drenched in rain and guilt. A sailor grabs his arm, demanding an explanation. The other crew members turn to face him, their expressions shifting from confusion to anger. Jonah lowers his head, his chest rising and falling with the weight of unspoken words. A monstrous wave swells in the darkness, looming like a hand reaching from the deep. The ship lurches, the crew stumbles but regains their footing. Jonah steps forward. His expression changes. Resignation overtakes fear. He gestures to himself, then to the sea. The crew hesitates. Another wave crashes against the deck, nearly capsizing the ship. Rain blurs their vision. Finally, with reluctant, sorrowful expressions, they grab Jonah. He doesn't resist. They lift him, pause for a moment, and then he is hurled overboard. Jonah plunges into the black abyss. The world above disappears. Tiny bubbles escape from his mouth as he sinks deeper, his body motionless, arms floating weightlessly. Bioluminescent creatures glow faintly around him, illuminating his descent. Silence. Then, a massive shadow moves, slow, lurking. A colossal whale emerges from the darkness, its mouth yawning open, an endless void of teeth and darkness. Jonah is engulfed. Darkness slams shut around him. Jonah gasps awake, choking on seawater. His hands press against the slick, ribbed walls of the whale's stomach, which pulse and shift like a living chamber. A faint blue glow from swallowed bioluminescent fish flickers in the gloom. He stumbles forward, slipping, his breathing ragged. His hands shake. His eyes dart around, searching for an exit. But there is none. He pounds against the walls, desperation setting in. His breath quickens, his chest rising and falling in panic. Slowly, exhaustion overtakes him. He sinks to his knees. The flickering light casts deep shadows over his face. His expression shifts, from anger to despair, then to something else, acceptance. A deep, low groan reverberates through the chamber. The walls contract slightly, as if the creature itself has felt his surrender. Golden light spills across the waves. The sea is calm. Seagulls circle lazily above. Then, boom! The water explodes. The massive whale breaches the surface near the shore. For a moment it lingers, then tilts its head and, with one great heave, expels Jonah onto the wet sand. Jonah lands hard, coughing, gasping for air. His hands dig into the sand as he lifts his head. His clothes are tattered, his body shaking. He blinks up at the sky, the early morning sun blinding him. His breath steadies. He is alive. Behind him, the whale slips beneath the waves, vanishing into the deep. Jonah walks toward the towering gates of Nineveh, his silhouette small against the massive city. The streets are alive with people. Merchants, travelers, citizens going about their day. Some turn to stare as Jonah, still ragged and sea-worn, strides forward with new determination. He reaches the heart of the city, stops, looks around. Then, with a deep breath, he moves forward. You can run from your calling, but you can't outrun God.